Hey there folks, and welcome to another GT7 650pp Tryouts. And this Tryouts I am doing the Mini Cooper S 2005 with a help of a certain Honda Civic motor. So here's the parts you can buy with this car, which I just gotta say, it's a very interesting motor, I gotta say, because it doesn't allow you to do engine upgrades. It doesn't allow you to do buffer setups for some reason. So my guess, this must be the Civic Type RFK, not the FL. I think the FL came later when this engine swap arrived for the Mini Cooper at the end of the day. If not, it's FL, perhaps too. But the K24A Civic motor is not a good motor for this car at all. Like, you're gonna realize a lot of fundamental problems about this motor compared to the regular Mini's motor. Because if you know one thing about Civic motors recently is that they've been very high on their acceleration factor, so as a result, their tires sputter on high throttle, and this is no slouch about that too. Matter of fact, if anything, it's kind of like one of the worst when it comes to engine swaps, I gotta say. I don't know who thought this was a good engine swap, but yeah. You can add a wide body to this Mini Cooper 2 on top of it if you really want to, and the engine swap is the Civic Type RFK, I believe. Now the cosmetics, I just kept it with the mini wheels because those was pretty good enough and such. You can widen the offset if you want to with the regulars. If you go full custom though, you can go 14 inches and full wides if you really want to. And as such. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. It's just weird. Yeah, I will say I did take my time just a bit more when it comes to this, because I know something a little too agitatingly quick or too hasty. Such. Yeah, a little part I forgot the black ends here, because yeah, it doesn't say, if you notice why there's no chrome, because I mostly blacked in, because yeah, you can turn around and black in if you want to. Because screw that joint, so. But you can add a spoiler, you can add a front lip, and such, and some side skirts. To overall body, you can add some hood pins, you can add some tow hook, basic fundamentals that most cars will have. Not really unique in that department, I guess in that part. And then we got light bulbs. You can change light bulbs as usual. I mean, that wouldn't be a hard one. Then you got the license plate and such. But yeah, the license plate is very interesting on the spots, I guess. But yeah, I gotta say, for the license plate, they get really goofy when you have vinyl on it and just plasters so long. You can change the grill, so in case you don't want the line grill, you can just go with a screen grill too, if you want to, on the front. And you can of course change the brake calipers, which I forgot to change the caliper colors when it came to making that vinyl, because I will say that vinyl, you can use that if you want. Just a bit here after the tuning setup. Because the tuning setup is very interesting when it comes to this motor, this godforsaken motor, because I still don't know if I tuned it right at all, because I still got lots to learn about this specific motor. Because what it does to this car at the end of the day is make it way too quick than it needs to be, I'll just say that. So as a result, you probably can easily hit 200 miles per hour with this, but the trade-off is, I hope you like burn your front tires, because most of the case, it's gonna do that. So, And then I tried to use the similar setup I did to the Citron EX or BX, one or two. I'm on the pain's neck. And so let's just see if it, loosen that a bit. And it really doesn't at the end of the day. It still just kind of does it. It's not really a fun car to drive at all, I gotta say. This is probably like one of my least favorite cars with the engine swap. But I will say, if you drive it normally, it's fine and dandy. But here's the vinyl though, in case for those that want to put this vinyl on this Mini. I did a pretty good job, so to say. But now on to the talk of the Mini Cooper with the Honda Civic. It's terrible. It's a very terrible engine swap, I gotta say. I wish there was a better engine swap than this garbage, I gotta say, because the Civic engine swap to me is just, ugh. As you can see, it just stutters for every time you stop and go on turns and stuff. You're just gonna realize just how bad this is at the end of it. Oh yeah, and you're probably wondering, oh hey, that vinyl is different now. That's because over the time, I just decided to finally turn around and did the vinyl, where this is like the in-process vinyl. I will say, I think this vinyl is also available too, because this is my old vinyl. Yeah, so, or which one you like more at the end of the day. I think I still have it on there. If not, I don't then. But this was used for my Clubman racing ideal way back. It's now that ideal is not scrapped. It's still kind of there. But ever since the whole discovery of another setups in the future, I might be more likely doing those setups now than that one. But to say though, I believe it's the 550 PP setup, I recall. Which has been eons since I last kind of did that PP a little bit. But yeah, you're probably realizing, oh hey, looks like you already did the best lap alright. Yeah, I did. This is one of those cases where this car is pretty good at the early half, did crappier on the later half, so. If you want to know the best time is, it's right there, 114.156. Which, to say, it doesn't really beat much, because yeah, the turning acceleration is not great. Because of that overpowered acceleration stutter, this car just has horrible acceleration until it finally snaps itself back together. Because either A, it's too high power, or B, the acceleration is just wacko. So I just don't know. I need more understanding about this, but otherwise this is what I can just offer it for now, because this is Tryouts after all. This ain't, I'm the best tuner in the world, look at me and shit. Oh, you're tuning shit. Well, it probably is shit. Who knew? So I didn't really desire to make the best tune-up. I just tried to make a tune-up to go with at the end of it. I can't say if it's gonna be good, but I did work in. I'll just say this, most of the engine swaps with FS are very bad anyway, so well, then again, maybe that's not all true, but in some ways it kinda is, because FS just weren't really designed to go high power insane. Which is effed up to say, because the engine that comes from is a Honda Civic motor, which you would think would be fine, but I think the Honda Civic was made even more mined for this engine compared to this. Does it go to 200 miles per hour? Yes, it sure does, but do you really want that? Not really. Not when it burns that much fuel, I'll just say. It's not got a fuel eater and such. But yeah, just trying to even control it too, because I will say, I think a little bit bad on the camber too, so if I had to say, probably lower that to 4 instead of 5. I notice at high speeds, it really winces up, and you'll notice it here and there. But otherwise, a car of pace, it's not bad. It at least beats the XNR, I guess. I guess it beats that, but still. That doesn't sound like it's just screaming much, But now on to the best lap, which you already see for the time, but you probably want to see how it's done. So, here it is and such. Which, if I got to say, I've been doing some testing and stuff, because I will say I've been working on that whole 1.5, and that kind of failed, because I realized, like, no matter what lightweight cars are just gonna have a huge advantage over cars that are just heavier. Because they're in the Camaro at best went 166 miles per hour by 1.5. Or 1.5 of its horsepower, so it's not great. Not great at all. So instead, I decided to make a new series as a result. And it's kind of mostly set up. I just have to do setup just a bit more. Might have to replace some cars here and there and such, because they may not be able to hit that certain miles per hour. And that's the hint I'm going to give until we hit to the teaser here. But I've been basically trying to experiment, so to say, and just see like what kind of cars are just crazy when they hit this certain miles per hour. And the miles per hour, I'll just say it's obvious, so don't feel blue ball about it. But 114.156. Alright, so now I'll talk about some car history and stuff, which I gotta say, Gran Turismo, why didn't you add the new Mini Coopers? Like, for realsy, like, I gotta say, out of all the Mini Coopers, I would love it if they had the Mini Clubman, or the Mini Countryman, or the Mini Cooper done by John Cooper Works. Add those, would you? Instead of just this one Mini Cooper, because just why? And yes, I could count the VGT one, but that's also a canned project, so you know. And such. I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all. It's like, why the heck do you not want to add the other Mini Coopers? Is there something controversial or what? Because the last time I heard, they were pretty much fine, because I'm from my brother's Clubman, which I gotta say, if I had to say what's terrible about this Mini Cooper, I hate how its fronts look, because the bottom lip is for some reason on the bumper instead of with the hood bonnet, which I hate that design. I love the Clubman design because it's all together. That's the big difference between the Clubman to the regular. Besides the sick ass panel doors you get in the back too. That's the other thing I do like. But other than say, the Clubman does share a lot of things with the Rotor Cooper here, with the gauges and stuff, the inside. But that's such in that manner and stuff. But yeah, in terms of Mini Cooper, this was BMW's attempt to revitalize Mini Cooper, and it was a huge success, because in terms of what I watched from the YouTube history of Mini Cooper, this sold like hotcakes in comparison to the OG Mini Cooper. Because what how many sales the Mini Cooper did, and it was like the most famous, is how many sales this one did, which I get it that some people say that, oh, they want a smaller Mini Cooper and stuff, which they can up to that demand and make a K-car version of the Mini Cooper, which I'm kind of surprised they haven't yet and such. But to say though, I think the size it's at for Mini Cooper is perfectly fine. I don't see any flaws about that. I get it, Mini's supposed to be small, but I thought Mini was more of the looks to it. Like, it's still keeping that boxy design, you know, to me. I get it, it kind of goes against the whole size thing, but it is still kind of small if you think about it. I mean, if you look at the Countryman is not that big in comparison to its rivals that are the other SUVs and stuff. Matter of fact, if there's an SUV I want to be added, it would be that one. And such, because that is a good SUV in comparison. But, yeah, to say, the Mini Cooper is a very fun car if you use the regular motor. If you're using this motor, though, yeah, you get that raw speed, but I really don't care for that raw speed. The Honda Civic motor is just too hyper for its own damn good for its car and such. I mean, the only other thing I could try to fix is maybe the engine alignment might be a bit off and stuff, because I will say, when you add engine swaps, you may have to adjust the engine alignment. That might be my biggest error so far. I can't say for sure. I tried it. It didn't really felt any different, so I reverted back and stuff. I'm not saying because it damaged the lap times. It's just because it didn't felt any different. It just felt the same, where it just wanted to burn the crap of those front tires at the end. And it's gonna be a big detrimental when it comes to weather which is the biggest flaw when we get to Le Mans here. The weather is a big issue with this car, with the Civic motor. Because anything that spins its front wheels like no tomorrow is going to have issues with rain. I'll just say that now. It will be burning those intermittent tires like no tomorrow. Because intermittent tires are not to be pressed on, so here is the best lap of Deep Forest Raceway, which, yeah, I will say with the balance and speed of Deep Forest Raceway, this is technically a lot better. The lap times, I will say. And so, because in terms of my lap times, so let's see here. I got my pad this time. So this thing's acting pretty fast. This is the thing I like about my pad stuff. And a 132.584, which hits it about, I want to say 9th place between 8th place between the XNR and the Mazda Miata with the RX motor. So now on to the Mount Panorama circuit, which, yeah, the speed, I already mentioned this, it hits about 200, but I think because of my gears, I think I lowered it too much on that department. I don't know, I will say that 200 mile per hour, well, fuck it, I'll just say at this point, 200 mile per hour tryouts is going to be interesting because that's what it is. It's exactly at 200 miles per hour and stuff like that. For this case, this could go about maybe 210, but I think my gears are just a bit too short for that. But because, yeah, the hyper speed this motor serves, though, it's pretty crazy. It's almost like as if you shouldn't bother tuning it at 650, you should just tune it where it natively needs to be. But if I have to say, yeah, 200 miles per hour is good enough. You go any higher, oh god, why would you do that? So it's like, this is just one of those cases where you put too much horsepower in this car, and as a result, it's just freaking out trying to respond towards everything you're trying to put down for throttle. And yeah, I would say, yeah, in that case, don't press full on the throttle, but the thing is, in order to go, you need to press full on the throttle. And such. But yeah, as you can see, this speed just rises, so that's a good part about this car. The top speed is pretty good for that most part. So, and that's such. As we head straight on down. But the roller coaster chute, basically. Up to the S-bend here. Yeah, in terms of times, it cannot recur. This one, cause yeah, I didn't bother writing these in. He's stupid. As usual. He's so stupid. But yeah, just so you know, it's a pretty good car for at least the top speed side of things. So yeah, if I have to say overall stats, turning probably 3, it's still pretty good on that part. Acceleration though, like a 1 or a 2, because how horrendous that wheel spin is. Top speed though, probably 5 stars, because that's the trade-off you're just getting for that horrible acceleration at the end of it. Because it's so overpowered. Because reminder that the max speed I did for the Mini Cooper, because it was going to be a 200 mile per hour contender, it ain't now. It's 180 instead, because I decided to do semi-draft now instead of full draft. If it was full draft, possibility, but no, I'm not going to allow that. Instead, I'm going to do semi-draft, which is basically go on Le Mans and stuff. I said I was going to keep this for a teaser, but nah, I'll just spell it at this point. But to say though, the regular one goes about like 183 miles per hour, which is not much. But with the Civic motor though, it bumps it, I would say probably around 230 max tune it. Because I recall it being a same. It's just a trade-off is no acceleration because you overpowered it to hell and back. And such, as a result. But yeah, as a result, I just do not like this motor at all, because this motor is just not good for this car. and it's gonna be very effective when it comes to the ranks stats here. I'll be showing a bit, but for now, let's just focus on track ahead of us, which is the Mount Panorama and such. As we get closer to about to show and revealing the best lap. But yeah, so far 213.589. That's not. I think that's better than Integra at least, because that would be the competition with the Integra. Most part, since it is a little car with a beefy motor. Down to the best lap though, so for 213.486, that puts it up to between the 308 GTB and the XNR GR Roadster. To beat the 308 GTB, it needs to be 212.522. Yeah, it's got a lot of room to get to, I must say. Yeah, I gotta say, it splits like really big time there. That's the only issue so far I'm noticing. And such. But we will see if it makes a better time than 213.4. We go on the straightaway bends and stuff. Ooh. Yeah, that's the problem about camber, which yeah, again, I probably just have to tweak the camber next time. I thought it was fine, but no, it still kind of just gets a little woozy around high speeds and stuff. I figured it'd be fine, but no, it's not. It's not as bad as 6 though, because I will say it was gonna be 6 for the camber in the rear. That would have been awful. Yeah, there's a reason why I had the negative camber in the front 0, because to not have those burn like no tomorrow, even though it still kind of does it at the end of it. It's not as horrendous though, but it still kind of does it at the end of it. So yeah, that's the trade you just gonna have to deal with when you have a high power mini like this. So sorry, because in order to fight against that tire resistance, you gotta lower your negative camber to whatever's burning more at the end of the day. The only bad part is I'm noticing if you lower too much or high too much, I think it does the reverse effect. I'm noticing. A 213.039 is not bad. Not bad at all. It didn't beat the 308 GTP, but it's fine. So what can it do? It can do the Sunday cuts for sure, as usual. But you can also do more than that. So you do basically the European stuff, for sure. The European Sunday Cup, because yeah, they also have a Sunday Cup dedicated for European cars, for some reason. And then the European Sunday Cup 500. At least I'll say this, at least it's not, you know, all-wheel drive, front drive, or just any drive for that matter. It's just, you know, straight to the point, you know, those cars. And then European FR Challenge. Oh wait, oh yeah, I just realized that's the error there. Yeah, you can't do that. It's an FF. And European Clubman Cup 600 though, you definitely can. Eliminate Alpha that Alpha Meg Whale for good. It could do race up turbo sports cars because it does have the turbo. So there's one in the weeklies right now, which that's the one with the Z-Tune Skyline, new one. And then you can do the Schwarzwald Week with a 2, but I will say be wary, it is 700 pp. It can do the wheel towing cars 700, of course, and stuff. Yeah, would try 600 with this. That would probably be a bad idea though, because lesser grip means more spins, please. And the Hypercup raid, was basically the early ones on the left until the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Once you see the Aston Martin Valkyrie, I would not recommend, maybe. So, and this is a near your car, so can't do the historic cup. That's been 1989, I believe. I think I learned now at this point. In the high speed range, and then the Tokyo tournament, and then you got the European Championship tournament, and then that was the WTC 700. That's 600. There we go, 700. There we go. Thus, I showed all what it could possibly do. Now on to the Le Mans race, which, yeah, this car for a, let's say, what's the best way to say it? Not a car I would choose for the endurance race at all. I would say, probably at best, it's best if no fuel, because even at fuel burnage too, just to say I had to do full wing, because this almost, oh no, it does completely empty the tank whenever I need to do the 6 laps for Deep Forest Raceway just to see how fast it goes. It burns through that like no tomorrow. Because I will say there's one good thing about that 200 mile per hour, it's gonna fix cars like this issue, I'll say. This kind of issue. Because yeah, the problem about engine swaps is that they might suffer a case of PP crunch, and I think this is one of them that does too. It doesn't really show it, but it is definitely there. I'll say that. But yeah, this car, it moves fast still. It's not as crazy though, at least. Thank God for that. Because as I mentioned, the regular Mini only goes about 183 on draft boost and stuff. This can go 180 just regular. So. But to say though, for the endurance ranking, I would say a D for the endurance side of things. It's kind of debatable if we can do this or not half the time. Even this includes rain too, and especially if it rains hard. It's going to be a big detriment for that car in return. And then for sprint, I would say a C, and then if no fuel, probably a B, because at least it's kind of fast, but not that crazy fast. It'll be okay for the most part, and such. But yeah, that's basically the Mini Cooper S in general to what I think of with the Honda motor. The Honda motor is just not that good to me. I would rather have something a lot better, or you know, maybe stick a, I don't know, a BMW motor. Something, as this is owned by BMW, you would think, oh, hey, let's add a BMW motor to it. Nope. Instead, let's just add a Honda Civic motor, because probably Donut Media, some crap hole, got this with your ideal. To me, it's bad. It's terrible. It's not worth it at all. Like I said, it's just not worth it at all to put this motor. You're better off just sticking with the regular, just keep it at the low performances. This high performance for this car is just not worth it. I mean, if there's one good thing, maybe if you just turn around and take the motor, just use it for a low performance game, perhaps it's a whole lot better. But that's the situation I just have a hard time thinking on, because the whole point when you have motors like this, you think, oh hey, you can drive it like no tomorrow. Not exactly for this car's case. This car's case is very unique on that regards. Such, but just say though, overall in terms of performance and stuff, it's not great. Even Le Mans standard, it's not that great, which is its whole factor of why it's kind of built for too, with the whole top speed, because you would think, oh okay, it might be that crazy. Nah, not really, it's kind of just okay when full wing, because yeah, full wing is just only gonna hit 180. If it wasn't full wing, and if I could jet this car to 1, then it could do 2 laps, most likely around almost 200 miles per hour. Almost. That's it. So that's probably the good part about it, to say. Yep, we got the Corvette already put in, because he's here and there about that when he pits or he doesn't want to pit. I don't know what to say on that part. he's pitting, so it's the Swift too. It just got weird. But yeah, speaking of car that spins their wheels like no tomorrow, that car. But yeah, just to say, the Swift is also bad about that. And when I say the Swift, I don't know if I should refer to the 2013 one, but I know the 2017 one for sure spins its tires like no tomorrow. Which probably means they're probably horribly bad, I mean, yes. Because as the saying goes, FX cars weren't made for high performance racing. They just weren't. They were just made in mind to be a daily driver, and that's kind of really that. You can probably do cup races with it, but after that, that's really about it. They're just really the beginner's choice car, and it really shows. The only time an FF was very competitive was probably the Nissan GTR LM when they tried to do a hybrid drivetrain with it too, which I think may have powered the rear wheels or not. I can't recall on that, but it did help a bit of the problem that the Nissan GTR had, which was also the wheel spin in the front. I see that's the ongoing cycle. I see. So that's the biggest problems about this Mini Cooper entirely, is that the Honda motor is just not that good. I think it's just better off with something else. Which is kind of funny because I think the Mini Cooper motor is a Chrysler motor too, the funny part. It's not even the BMW, I don't think. But it is a shared motor with Chrysler. That's the funny part. But yeah, you got a Viper, you got a Supra. So, and you got the Mini coming after. Hopefully. It's getting there, it's doing its job. It's slowly getting up there. And considering the Viper is doing like a 420 of lap 2 on top of it. Good job, 420! That's a funny part. Now, I will say 420 on a medium difficulty. I know he would go like 415 or so on harder difficulties. And also, it wouldn't be him either. I think it would be the Corvette instead. Yeah, that's the fun part about hard mode. Hard mode gives AI one hell of a twitch too, of a change. If you would think, oh, that one was the most competitive, right? Well, now that one is. Yep, so now watch these cars do battle. Showcasing all the cars along the way. The Mazda Tenza. And M4, which yeah, even M4's not doing that good. As usual. Even though I did notice he's on race hard tires now. Which is weird. I thought he was on race sauce. Weird. Then we get the Supra. Or what's the Supra? Yeah, I just did that for 600 pp tryouts. So if you haven't seen that, well, go check that out. It's not bad overall. I think it's just way better than the Viper overall, I must say. Yeah, now we're going to the pits, so to say. Yeah, at this point, you might as well just pit, because it's the third lap. Usually third laps. Most cars survive about 3 laps. Yeah, especially in my case where I got fully. Or even on a fully, I should say. Yeah, now we're back to after, because I will say throughout this race it decided to rain pretty good and such. Now I'm just gonna note, throughout this one lap here, notice my tires were full. Check back once we hit a full lap, I'll just say that. Heck, I think they're already burning already, yeah. I think they're already showing rates. Good God. Because yeah, that's the bad part about this motor entirely. It just burns through the tires. Burns through those intermediate tires. As if they're just frosting on a cake. Basically. Yeah, I got all the opponents. Luckily, I have all the opponents switching out their tires. Thank God of that. I could turn around and switch mine out. But yeah, that's basically overall the race. Maybe I should technically give it a low C at least. I probably just turn around and give it a low C instead. This will be a bit more generous about it, because it does do wonders, but that's really it. It doesn't really do much else beyond that. Heck, if anything, I would say my 200 mile per hour tryouts, the special tryouts in the future, might fix that problem for that car. Might. Yeah, we got the Viper, we got the GT7, we got the Supra, got the Hurricane, of course. Yeah, that Hurricane is a big old stinker because you can do 4 laps. So is the Lancer Evo too, although the Lancer Evo is not that big of a stinker in comparison. But yeah, it is kind of crazy that there's 2 cars here that do 4 laps. You can do 4 laps of Le Mans. It's like, holy crap, boy, did they fuel reserve big time. So get the WRX on M tires here, I see. I guess he's technically burned the tires too, definitely. Want to look at him. We got race cards for the Lancer Evo. And get the 458 Italia. But yeah, the Italia's in a higher spot than he usually is. He's usually in the further back. But this time he's actually up there. But yeah, if I have other plans I'll do besides the 200 miles per hour, I'll do a 180. And then I'll do a funny one in the future. I don't know if I want to mention it yet, but let's just say it has something tied to electric cars and their speed limits. Or basically their lock training, I should say. I will say I will find a fundamental way to use those cars. I think that is the way to do it. It's just, the problem is, it's not that good. It's not going to be that good, I'll just say that much. Oh yeah, and when I say 200 miles per hour, at its minimum. So, if you're hitting 200 and you can go lower, you're going lower. So sorry. Because the whole point is to see how lean can you get with the horsepower while, you know, driving such. So because the whole point was to make acceleration and turning as excellent as possible. And that's what I want to see in a car, besides, you know, its speed. This also shows you just how lean some cars are and stuff. Like, there is some cars that surprise me already. And you're gonna see the candidates as well once we get there. But yeah, overall, like I said, the Mini Cooper is kind of a C to me overall, I guess. It's not really crazy, it's just something. And it's kind of a big letdown in my case, because I kind of thought, oh crap, it's going to have that? Surely it's going to be good, right? Nah, it's just too powerful. It's just way too powerful for the Mini Cooper to understand at the end of the day. So as a result, you got a car that's just freaking out. I need to go this fast. No, you don't. It's just over-accelerating way too much. Oh yeah, I guess you show. Yeah, look at those M tires. Oh my god, like 1 lap in, and I honestly use water straps, by the way. If I didn't use water straps, those tires are probably gone. But I will say, because of the negative camber though, luckily they ain't completely burned out, because the last time I tested this, because yeah, I did this race twice, by the way, and I decided to retune this car to ensure about the negative camber stuff. It technically did better. Because if you didn't have that negative camber, those tires would be gone. Those front tires would be gone. It's kind of weird to say, but it's like they're mostly gone. But yeah, I had to switch out my tires, and the Viper's approaching. So I had to quickly just get a quick sip to so I might as well go full power. Just 1 lap. But yeah, I didn't really make a best lap at all throughout this race, because it just got very inconsistent of the rain stuff. Like I said, because I tried, I didn't want to. And then the tires, well, if it so happened to dry up, which it is currently, those M tires are just gone. You don't want to use those 2 laps, I'll just say that. Use those 2 laps, you lose. So, because you do not want to run on ball tires. Unless your car can actually understand ball tires. As the saying goes. But yeah, that's basically fundamentals of the racing. There is another hurrah lap. Because at least these guys played gentle. If they played more serious, this probably would have been a terrible race for this car. But yeah, if they didn't get fucked by the whole wet tires, yeah, it would have been a bad time. But yeah, when it's like a heavy rain, I notice they just turn around and use wet tires, which is not a wise idea, I guess. Yeah, just see these 2 on the finish lap, and yeah, once the timer goes out, anyone who didn't cross that lap is finished there. That's how the time rules go when it comes to endurance race. So how many laps can you do with the car? And that's usually how it goes in terms of racing. About 24 hours, because yeah, if you're in first place and stuff, you most likely want to chill, because if you so happen to push too much, you could kill the car altogether on the way there. So. And the time to push is when you have an opponent that is being opposing and stuff, or trying to get there basically, or he's able to outlean you. You can see the tell you this is showing. Yeah, they just drive a 50 mile per hour speed. It's like, oh, okay. You know, it doesn't feel like they're driving 49, but okay. Yeah, that's the weird fun part about Gran Turismo is it doesn't feel like you're driving at 49, but I guess apparently you are. So, yeah, this is the Mini Cooper at full power, which yeah, definitely shows. It also shows how short gear I was too. But yeah, I should have extended the gears just a bit more. But I didn't. Fuck, if anything, I should try to go as lean as possible in the horsepower, but I don't think I'm really able to. With the PP setup, because yeah, I will say, like again, the 200 mile per hour might fix that. I'm not going to focus on the PPs. So that's the other fun thing. That's why I kind of think this 200 mile per hour might help a lot, because I don't have to focus on PPs. It is what it is, so it's like, if it delivers or don't delivers. Yeah. Since the Mini Cooper did the 200 miles per hour, I have a different contender instead. Which this contender, well, while the car doesn't reach 650, it still is pretty good for what it is. I'll say that. Yeah, there's cars that did not hit 650, and I kind of denied them, but the 200 mile per hour fixes that. So it's like, whereas some of these cars are, you know, are better that way, because I ain't relying on the PP scale now. So this is what's going to be unique about that tryout, and you know, it kind of technically makes them very even at the end of it, I notice. Which is kind of what I want out most of it. And if they aren't even, then by field they're technically better. So, yep, that's about it for the Mini Cooper. So yeah, like again, that's a big old C to me. So now on to the next teaser of the car, which the next teaser for the next episode would be the Sierra RS 500 Cosworth by Ford. Yep, I'll be doing that, but for now, I guess I'll let you guys go. So until then, people, I'll see you guys all next time. You guys take care. I hope you enjoyed what you watched here, and for now, enjoy this teaser. Until then, ciao.